This video shows you how to replicate data between a source and target over a network secured with NGINX. For the purposes of this video, the source is an on-premise Oracle GoldenGate deployment, and the target is an OCI GoldenGate deployment in the cloud. In order for the source and target to communicate with each other, you need to create a trusted connection between the two deployments. To create a trusted connection, you need to create a client certificate for your source deployment using OpenSSL, download the target server's root certificate, and then upload it to the source Oracle GoldenGate. Create a user in the target deployment for the source Oracle GoldenGate to use. Create a credential in the source Oracle GoldenGate using the same credential information. Create a distribution path on the source Oracle GoldenGate to the target deployment, and then create a target-initiated receiver path on the source Oracle GoldenGate to pull data from the target instance. Create the client certificate using OpenSSL for the source Oracle GoldenGate. You can use a command similar to the following. The genkey.conf is a custom configuration file that you create with the following information. Your CN and subject alt name values may differ from this example depending on the names you choose to use. Provide both the short and long format names for the subject alt name. In the Oracle GoldenGate Service Manager, select Certificate Management from the navigation menu. Select your deployment. Add the client certificate. Using the cat command, copy and paste the encrypted certificate details into the certificate PEM field. Likewise, copy and paste the encrypted private key details into the private key PEM field. Click Add. In the Target Deployment console, download the root certificate from the browser or search for the publicly available root certificate. Upload it to the source Oracle GoldenGate Certificate Management screen under CA Certificates. NGINX uses these certificates to verify that the source and target are who they say they are. Next, create a user in the Target Deployment console for the source Oracle GoldenGate to connect to the target with. In the Target Deployment console, select Administrator from the navigation menu and then click Add User. Give the user a name, password, and assign it the operator role. In the source Oracle GoldenGate Administration Service, select Configuration from the navigation menu. Under the Database tab, click Add Credential. For credential domain, enter a name for the connection, such as OP2C. For credential alias, enter an alias, such as WSSnet. For user ID, enter the name of the user you created in the Target Deployment console. For password and verify password, enter the password you created for the user that you created in the target deployment console. Now let's create the distribution path that will connect the source Oracle GoldenGate to the target. Open the Oracle GoldenGate distribution service and then click Add Path. For path name, enter a name such as DP2GGS. For source, select your extract and then select the corresponding trail file for trail name. User ID alias for target authentication method means that this distribution path will use the user ID credentials we created earlier. For target host, copy the host name from the OCI GoldenGate deployment console URL. Ensure that there are no trailing slashes at the end. For port number, enter 443. This is the NGINX port number. For trail name, enter a name for the target trail file. For domain, enter the name of the domain created earlier, in this case, op2c. For alias, enter the alias name created earlier, in this case, WSSnet. Click Create Path. From the Action menu, click Start. You can verify the connection in the Target Deployment Console's receiver service. Pulling data from the target to the source Oracle GoldenGate works in a similar way. You still need the certificates and user credentials created earlier, but instead of creating a distribution path in the source Oracle GoldenGate, you create a target-initiated receiver path. Open the source Oracle GoldenGate receiver service and then click Add Path. For path name, enter a name such as TI-RP2GGS. For source host name, copy the host name from the OCI GoldenGate deployment console URL. Ensure that there are no trailing slashes at the end. For port number, enter 443. For trail name, enter a name for the source trail file. For domain, enter the name of the domain created earlier, in this case, op2c. For alias, enter the alias name created earlier, in this case, WSSnet. For trail file name, enter a name for the trail file received by Oracle GoldenGate. Click Create Path. From the Action menu, click Start. You can verify the connection in the target deployment's distribution service. And there you have it. You can now send data between a source and target Oracle GoldenGate deployment over an NGINX-secured network. Thanks for watching.